a community with $1 billion?
Uh-uh.
Why not?
You make them worse. Look at the black people. They've been given money and free stops, government programs, and money for 60 years. They have only gotten worse. They haven't gotten better. They're still begging and burning and destroying because they're not building character. And you believe racism exists?
Yes. Do you believe racism exists?
Define racism for me.
Do you believe racism exists?
I'll tell you in a minute. Once you define it.
Okay, racism is, so basically, like, I don't think we should separate racism from the other isms, right? So there's capitalism, which is like the idea that basically like powers are controlled based on like financial capital and stuff. And then there's like socialism, which is that the government should control capital and it should go to everyone.
You believe in socialism?
Okay, let me finish my first thing. And then there's like communism, which thinks everything should be equal. And then there's racism, which is like another ism that is based on maintaining a social structure based on the idea of race. So keeping certain people in power and keeping certain people out of power. So like that would be racism if you like.
Can you define it for me? Racism.
I just did.
Who is in control of racism?
It's like a social construction.
Oh, so for an example, in the black community, they used to be two parents, and the father and mother thought and did for themselves, and then once the civil rights movement started, the parents gave up the men and put the men out. The women took over. And then the so-called civil rights leaders became the thinkers. They told the blacks what to do, join the Democratic Party, we're going to be your leaders. So are those black so-called leaders, the civil rights leaders, are they racist because they're controlling the blacks? They keep them poor, but they use them to get the money and the wealth and give it to their friends and may help them. Are they being racist?
What? Yo, dude, like, what are you talking about? Like it's a real question.
Is that a definition of racism?
No.
Well, they're controlling the system in the black community. They tell blacks when to think, how to act mad so we can bring in more bills, and they end up with the money. So they're controlling the blacks. They're keeping the blacks here while they're living out in the hall. Are they racist?
Where did you get this idea?
Well,
Like, did you make that yourself?
No. Are they racist, what I'm asking?
No. Are black
And why
activists...
are they racist?
I said they're not.
Why is it they're not? They're controlling other blacks by keeping them financially in a certain area.
Who said that black social activists are keeping black people in a lower financial area? Like, where did you get
You don't believe that they are?
No. I mean, I'm a black social activist, and I'm not trying to keep black people at a lower state.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to empower black people.
By doing what?
By giving them a voice and letting them be lifted. And like,
how is that going to empower them?
To allow them, okay, for example, I led like the Black Lives Matter march at USC.
Yeah, I want to get to that in 1 minute. But how would what you're doing empower other black people?
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you this because I'm explaining how it empowers people.
Okay, well,
so,
hold that thought for me. I want to ask you this first. Do you believe in capitalism?
To an extent, I believe you should have the opportunity to like build for yourself and for your future. At the same time, I don't think like at a certain point of like wealth that should still be like socially like acceptable. Like, for example, billionaires, like to acquire $1 billion, there's no person or like lifetime where you'll ever be able to spend or need $1 billion. So I don't think billionaires should exist, like that type of money.
So you work hard to get into USC, you got your little degree, you work hard, you think somebody should tell you, once you get X amount of dollars, you need to stop, you're not allowed for that?
If I have $1 billion, I'm never going to reach...
Should they stop you before you get to $1 billion? Let's say you do get to $1 billion.
I'm not going to reach $1 billion because...
Why not?
Because I'll never need that much money.
So
Nobody will.
You won't do it?
So if I'm reaching that much money, at that point, I'm have more money than I'll ever need and that I could ever use.
Right.
Like I could buy, with $1 billion, I could buy several yachts.
Right.
And like just burn them and then get a pile of money and burn that. If I have more money than I'll ever need, then that should be like given to people that are less advantaged. So
Do you have a right to have as much as you want, or should someone be able to tell you, you know, you work too hard, you are making too much money, you better stop now? Do they have a right to tell you that?
I don't think they need to tell me that.
Or do they have a right to tell you that?
They don't need to tell me that, because I think as a moral human being, you should understand that if you have, let's say like I have no water and you have gallons of water, you're just going to sit there and hold your gallons of water even though you'll never be able to finish drinking it, and let me sit here with a cup of with no water in it?
Would it be wrong for me to do that?
Yes.
Would it be my fault that you can't get water?
I mean, if you have that much water and I have no water,
Would it be my fault that you can't get water?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's your fault, but if you
If it's not my fault, then why am I wrong for not giving you my water?
because you have the means to.
But why am I wrong for not? You can get your own water. What's wrong with you?
I mean, if there's like social constructs preventing me from acquiring
But
water.
nothing in your way from work hard, go get your water, dig a hole.
This is like the bootstrap mentality.
What do you mean?
That doesn't work. You're saying like if I work hard enough, then I will become a billionaire?
Yeah.
Okay, so like,
Are you saying in your affirmation that you won't?
no, what I'm saying is if I was to become a billionaire, I wouldn't keep all that money to myself.
Right, but you have a right to do it if you want to,
But
right?
I wouldn't want to. It's a moral
But you
standard.
do have a right if you want to.
Sure, if you want to keep,
And no one has a right to tell you that you can't.
okay, if you want to keep $1
Do
billion,
anyone have a right to tell you, as hard as you've worked already, do anyone have a right to tell you you shouldn't make $1 billion?
I wouldn't want to make
No, that's
$1
what
billion.
I'm asking. Does anyone have a right to tell you that you don't have hardworking you're a rapper, you got 4.3 average, you graduated from USC, you're a go-getter. Does anyone have a right to tell you you don't have a right to make $1 billion?
I think people have the right to tell me that it is morally unjust for me to have that much money and
But
not.
do they have a right to tell you that you can't do it?
I mean, they can't tell me that I can't do it if I already have it, but I never
No,
will.
do
is
they
what I'm
have a
saying.
right to tell you, you're going up the ladder now, do they have a right to tell you that you can't make $1 billion?
I'm not gonna make $1 billion. That's
I
the
understand
question.
that. You're going to keep it with the black people. But do you have a right? Do they have a right to tell you you can't make $1 billion? That's what I need to know real fast.
It doesn't matter.
I know,
what
but just
people
answer
tell-
that, then we'll get to the
Yeah,
other
they
side.
have a right to tell me that. Sure.
To tell you that you can't do that. You're a hard-working individual. They have a right to tell you no. You
Yeah.
got to stop at this amount.
They have a right to say that. Yes.
How much? At what amount should they stop you?
What do you mean?
At what amount do they have a right to tell you to stop?
They have a right to tell people. To,
No, you. At what amount of money do they have a right to tell you stop it?
stop making money.
Yeah, you have too much. You need to stop.
Sure.
How much?
I mean, they can tell me that I need to stop whenever they want.
And they have a right.
Yes.
Would you stop?
I mean, at a point when I feel like I have more than I need,
No, when they tell you to stop, you have more than what you need. Would you stop?
if I feel that I
No, no, no. If they tell you to stop, you have more money than what you need. Cut it out. Would you stop?
Okay, do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, just answer that.
Okay. I would stop if I felt I had more than I needed. And then I would begin my journey of like bringing other people up with me that
But
are
if you
disadvantaged.
if you don't feel like you have more than what you needed, but they do, and they tell you to stop, would you stop?
No, I'd keep going so that I can successfully give back to my community. Because if I don't have enough money to sustain myself, then I'll never be able to uplift the rest of the community.
And you think you can do that with money?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. You don't think you can uplift a community with $1 billion?
Uh-uh.
Why not?
You make them worse. Look at the black people. They've been giving money and free stops, government programs, and money for 60 years. They have only gotten worse. They haven't gotten better. They're still begging and burning and destroying because they're not building character.
Building character.
Yeah.
It's just about character.
Yeah. You don't think so?
So you're telling me if you have a school in a black community that doesn't have EAOP, like after school programs, like resources to teach kids, like SAT prep and things like that. A school doesn't have the money for those resources. And if I give that school the money for those resources so the kids have all those resources, that's not going to help those kids?
No.
Okay, well, I
Can
mean,
I tell you why?
That's what you
Because
think.
the teachers, the unions and the heads of the school take the money. They're not going to do it for that.
No, I would put the money in.
But you have to stay there and sleep and watch it overnight because they'll take it.
No,
But
what
let me
I'd
ask
do
you
is I'd
this.
start my own EAOP program. I'd start my own, it would be my own fund. I'd start a scholarship fund. There's ways to like keep the money, get the money into the right hands. And
Let
I'd
me
make
ask
sure
you
that.
this. Do you think a man should ever follow a woman?
You asked me that
And
already.
what'd you tell me?
I told you that people should be equal.
I asked, I know you think that, but should a man follow a woman?
If she's saying something worth following, yes.
Would you ever follow a woman?
If she was saying something worth following, yes.
Would you listen to a woman?
If she was saying something worth listening to, yes.
Amazing.